Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Jesse, this is my garage, and today we're going to detail and clean, well, we did, and we're gonna talk about what it took and how we did transform this into nice and shiny. If you ever seen any other pictures, watch the channel, you've probably seen the paint on this car was terrible. Every time you would touch it, it would just absorb dirt and grease. There was no shine to it, and it was questionable that there was still even clear coat underneath all that grime. But I'm gonna show you what it took to do that, go through step by step, and how you can do it to your car and really add it. This is a night and day difference between the two cars, but let's get to it. Start with step one. All right, well here is a look at how dingy and grimy this paint was before we started. As you can see, the dirt would just cling to this car. And if you rub your hand across it, it felt like sandpaper. There's just a bunch of flies that collected on the front from this road I like to drive that goes out behind a lake. And of course, just is dirty in general. Got caught in some rain, so it needs to be washed. All right, with any wash job, we're gonna go ahead and start with the wheels and work our way around. And I've got this in the garage while I do this to keep the sun off of it and stop any water or product from drying on it before we want it to. So here's some Chemical Guys wheel cleaner I happen to have, so we're gonna try that out and work on all four tires. That tire brush that I'm using on these is really good to just kind of get in there and get stuff cleaned out of your wheels a lot easier than with just using a towel. Links are in the description below for all the products that we're using here. All right, this is the soap I was choosing to use. I happen to have some Voodoo Rides car soap. It's cool and green, and it suds up really nicely, as you can see my helper there. So we're just gonna go ahead and start by getting the car all nice and wet, wash off any loose dirt, and then I'm going to use what's called the 2-bucket method. Since we're gonna be hand washing this car, we'll have 2 buckets, one just for rinsing, that's the red bucket, and then the blue bucket has got our clean water with all of our soap in it. So once we scrub down the car with our wash mitt, we'll go ahead and hit it in the rinse out bucket to trap all the dirt and hopefully keep it out of our clean water that we're going to be rubbing all against the car. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get it all dried up. I've got these drying towels I really like to use. Like I said, links are in the description. I fill 2 of them for this job. It works out perfectly. The first one gets all the major water off, and then you just use the second one to get it all dried out nicely. And you can see I closed the garage door a little bit to keep any sun off the car so nothing's gonna dry prematurely. These towels are super absorbent. All right, well, here's what it looks like afterwards. I mean, it already looks way better just washing it as with any car, but it's still super dull, super grimy, and this still feels like sandpaper. Even after hand washing and hand scrubbing the car, it's still just dirty to the core. So what we have to do is get all the contaminants out of the paint, which are there, which we're gonna work on in just a second. Here is the clay bar that we're using. It was just a kit that I picked up. And see, I just took a little piece, knead it up, and we'll rub it across. Just starting from the back and working my way forward. It comes with a nice spray detailer. And what you want to do is basically lube the surface of the car up and then rub that clay bar across it. That clay bar will trap any contaminants and pull them out of the finish of your car. People definitely underestimate, I think, how well this clay bar works. As you can see, as I work my way down, it will transform the paint already, start making it whiter and cleaner. The amount of dirt it was pulling out of this clear coat is insane, and this poor car really needed this, and it looks so much different once we get to the end. But I just work my way down one panel at a time. You
keep re-kneading that clay as you go to trap the contaminants in it. And the kit I used is pretty nice. It has that spray detailer, that yellow rag you can see there, and then a few clay bars. If you watch as I go down this fender, you're gonna see the fender start to transform right in front of your eyes. How much better it looks, how much shinier it is how much the finish improves just by running the clay bar over it and getting some of those contaminants out of there.
All right, so we're working our way around the car, and I just wanted to kind of show you. So this side, we clay barred, and you can see the reflection in the lights. I mean, it's getting some shine to it. It's definitely been brought back. I mean, so much smoother, just the grime is all gone. Still have to do the front, and so we did this part right here, and I'm sure you can see that right there. That is where we stopped. I had to continue to clay bar that, but this is just the clay bar. This is what it's doing. This is what the start was. You can see those lights, I mean, are yellowed and gray and just look terrible. And if we can catch them on this side, much more clear, crisp color. And then we're gonna buff it and get that even better. So I just wanted to show this side. See how dingy and dull this fender is, this whole side. We still are yet to do this side, but this is a little before and after of just what running the clay bar over this car is doing. This car is in desperate need of that. We're actually bringing this paint back. I'm sure it's got some scratches, but I think we're gonna be able to save it. So let's get back to it. Let's clay bar this side and the front, and let's get this thing buffed out.
All right, now as I'm sure you can imagine, the clay bar does take a while. You just literally hand rub the whole car. So schedule out some time to do something like this, but it's well worth it. The kit that I'm using is pretty nice. The spray detailer that came with it, by the time I was done with the car, was completely wiped out. It did come with a few extra clay bars, which I still have. And I've heard of people using a soap and water mixture, because all we're trying to do is basically lube the surface up for the clay bar to go across smoothly, and it will trap any contaminants as we work our way down. As you can see, you'll see just how much the paint opens up as I work my way down the side. All right, well, here's kind of how the clay bar works and how we're using it. Is just taking a piece of clay, spraying some lube, or taking a piece of clay, spraying some of the quick detailer on it to lube the surface, and then just running that thing back and forth and back and forth. As you can see, all the dirt that's breaking loose. And we'll just wipe that surface off. And we still need to take a second pass because you can still see there's some grime in there. And we'll just refold that clay bar and get a new surface, and then go back at it again and get any of the contaminants we missed the first time. And like I said, this is a really dirty car. So if you did this on your car every once in a while, it would go a long ways and stop it from getting this dirty, and it would never have to be this bad, and you can do it a lot faster than it took me to do this whole car. And how smooth the clay bar gets the surface of the car is pretty awesome. Now, granted, this car felt like sandpaper when you touch it before, but it goes to super, super smooth once you run that clay bar down it, which is really nice. Help keep the dirt off of there.
All right, well, you saw a bunch of that come off. We're actually starting to see some shine back in this paint on the sides and on the hood. Now we're gonna buff it out. So I've got some of this stuff. This is like a high cut, coarse, heavy cut, boom. This thing needs a lot of help. So we're gonna do this first with a little bit of a coarser pad. Put links in the description below. But we're gonna go do that with a DA polisher. It's gonna start with the front, work my way back, hopefully get this thing done, and it should be looking so much better.
All right, well, here's where we bust out the big guns. Once I clay barred the whole car, we're ready to DA polish it. Now, the pad that I'm using, like I stated there, is a coarse pad that's gonna cut onto this clear coat a little bit faster, because this thing was in desperate need of attention and it had never been done before. And I'm actually going to do the car twice. I'm going to run over the whole thing one time on this coarse pad, and then I have a second pad which is a fine pad, and we'll go over. And you can actually see as I go through this on the hood, it transforms the look of the hood even more. So the clay bar worked a ton and it worked really good, but then this is just taking it to the next level. And like I said, we're gonna go over this 2 times to get just a nice polish, and we can see it's coming out. We're wiping some of that off there, and we're gonna move to the fender. Let's go. This is a dual action polisher I picked up at Harbor Freight a while ago, so I just happened to have this on hand. And it worked out really well. It's variable speed, so just start off at a low speed and I'd work my way up to, I think it goes up to 6, probably like 4 or 5 maybe. Yeah, this made a huge difference too. It was another night and day difference. You thought the clay bar did really good, and then this thing hit it, and you could tell. Really happy with how it came out.
The bumper is white. It did not look white before. It actually matches the lip. I know you guys seen before that the lip looked so crazy because the bumper was so faded and paint and dirty, but it actually looks white. I'm really surprised on how clean that bumper came out. We got shine, we've got depth. You can see into it. Let's see. Yeah. So this really came a long ways. It was like sand it off and paint it, but let's see what we can do. Always save this paint job. It is 27-year-old paint looking good again. This dual action polisher that we are using, it's good for DIY and kind of beginners because it's a dual action vibrating polisher, so the chance of you burning your clear coat is a lot less than a rotary polisher. And I picked this up at Harbor Freight. I can't remember how much it was. I'm sure I used some coupon. I want to say it was like 60 bucks. Just continuing to work my way down. Like I said, we're going to go over this again with a finer pad just to really clean things up. But this is where we really saw just crazy results, and was really happy with how it started to turn out by this point. All right, so we have, this thing is coming together. It's coming out amazingly, if amazingly is a word. I think so. But I mean, it's already 1,000% better than it was. We actually have shine. We can actually tell there's clear coat on this car. We can actually see into the paint. That's all the way around. So we washed the car, we clay barred the car. We ran the polisher over it on, I put like a high coarse, the coarsest pad that I had to go over the whole car. And now I've got a fine pad. So I'm gonna polish the whole car again. I think we're gonna be done. We'll throw some ceramic coating on it. But this is just, you know, an enthusiast project. You can do this in your garage. So here's our foam pad that we're gonna use to polish one more time. And there is our fancy polisher. That works awesome. I can't suggest this enough. It does take some time, so carve out some time to do it. Just work one panel at a time. Put your rubbing compound on there, work it into the paint, and then wipe it off, as you can see I'm doing there. Add a little bit more, go to the next panel, and you'll start to see results as you go, no problem. Now, as you can see, and you heard me talk about before, the front bumper on this car, and if you've seen any of my pictures on Instagram or watched me do some other work on any of the other videos about this car, you would know that that front lip was freshly painted white, and it looked so different than the bumper. But after doing this, the bumper and that lip match so much better. I'm so happy about how much cleaner that bumper was able to get to match that front lip, and then how much shine came back to that bumper. I'm really surprised because I thought that bumper was done for. just because how paint ages differently on a polyurethane bumper versus a metal panel. And I'm really surprised on how clean we were able to get that and how it all matches up back together again. All right, well, we've polished it twice, we clay barred it, we washed it, and it's time to, we're gonna check out this ceramic coat right here. Yeah. Ceramic liquid wax. Hopefully it's good. We've got a little applicator. So we just need to put it all in the car, let it sit for like 3 to 5 minutes, wipe it off, and we'll see it. So here's some of this ceramic wax, ceramic coating wax that I think it's a new product. I figured we'll try it out. Now I must say, once you apply this, I thought this thing was smooth already. We'll apply this, let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and then wipe it off, and wow, does that make the surface of this car smooth. Keep that dirt off of there, keep water off of there. I haven't taken the car out yet since I've cleaned it, so I haven't really tried, put that to the test in weather, but I could tell just by touch that this was quite the difference, and I hope it works just as well as it seems to. All right, we are all done. The project is complete. Our paint is saved and it looks amazing. So enjoy this next part. All right, well, I think the 300ZX paint was saved and the mission is complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me talk about the top 5 items you need to have in your garage to detail, watch this video right here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Check below for links to all the products here.